Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Being Human Now show. I'm your host, Jennifer Locksmith, and today I'm a bit under the weather. This is the first show I'm going to be doing where I'm a little bit sick. I've got a cold, but we're going to power through. I'm feeling good. I got my cough drops and my tissues, so we're good. It shouldn't hinder the show at all, and I'm so grateful to have Christina Zuppke here with us today. She is the director of the Lightbody Academy, which is an online global academy dedicated to empowering the awakening world. They work with wayshowers, healers, and new paradigm visionaries by radically advancing psychic intuitive perceptions so you can go beyond belief with your abilities and much more. Christina is a consciousness acceleration expert, and she specializes in dreamtime healing. She bridges the worlds of spirit and practical living, ancient wisdom, and modern awakening, guiding others to embody their multidimensional truth and live as radiant co-creators of the new earth. I will also say she is a divine gift to this realm and all realms. Christina Zuppke, thank you for all you've done and continue to do. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. So nice to be here with you today.
Yeah, I'm so grateful to have you, and it's timely, and I think all my guests are divine timing. So I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to have you on. This is going to be a real treat because you are a wealth of knowledge, and your YouTube channel and your Rebel channel, Lightbody Academy. I've just been diving deep into that, and you just have so many important, wonderful things to say, and I could just watch your videos all day long.
Wow, thank you. I love that. Love to
Yeah.
hear that.
Well,
That means it's helpful.
yes, yes. I mean, my mind has been blown. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. Um, so you're the director of the Lightbody Academy.
Yes.
Tell us about the Lightbody Academy. What do you ladies have going on over there for us?
Yeah, so Lightbody Academy started off with as a vision many years, several years ago, more than 10 years ago. And I was well, first step back, during my awakening process, I was being worked with beings that I didn't quite understand what was going on. And as I was waking up to the frame up, to my reality shifting, my frame up for that was shifting enough for me to actually start to comprehend what these unseen beings were doing, for me, with me. And it's all about creating a vision and stepping outside of time and understanding that reality is not what we think it is. So as time went forward, I started to meet them in person, and I'm like, oh, okay, so these are humans, you know,
Yeah.
really developed ones. But anyway, so I had this inkling, that there was more to come, more to do. And as I was breaking out of certain confines of who I thought I was, it was creating. I was getting closer and closer to this creation until one day the energy was right, the circumstances were right. I was ready to make that big leap because I was really stepping out of my comfort zone. And as soon as I did, the universe met me. And so it started off with only me. And then well, Stacy was very, very close right in the beginning. So she's Stacy Hernandez. She's the one that does our Ancestor and Death Rites.
Yep. She's coming
Amazing.
on next week. Yep.
Excellent. She's an amazing, excellent worker, excellent tracker.
Hmm.
Anyway, so then the right people were coming, and then I started to realize there was nature beings getting involved in who was coming. So this is the Fey realm, what some people would refer to the Sasquatch realm, this kind of thing. They started colluding to bring people onto my path. And one by one, I met the right people that I knew were supposed to be a part of it. And the funny part is they knew it too. It's like we knew something. As soon as our eyes meet, like we meet, we know there's something. We don't know what it is, but we're about to find out. And it took a while, and we did. And so the Academy has now grown into me and three other facilitators. And each facilitator has a specialty that they're, well, I would say on the road of mastery of. And we are fulfilling the vision, which is to empower an awakening world. And there's a lot of talk about this new earth, new human, homo luminous, all these different terms being thrown out there. And in the bigger scope, what I've been digesting and been shown is that, this is a paradigm shift like like nothing else. And it's imagine all of the world being awoke to the multidimensional realities and what's truly happening. This is like a global shamanic paradigm that is upon us. And you can imagine, wow, like that's a scary, wild ride. And it's our vision to empower everybody as they awaken, just to, take it in stride the best that you can,
Yes.
and which means looking at things in a very different way than we ever have before. So that's the vision of the Academy, and that's why we do what we do, and we're just constantly growing. So,
Yeah. Well, we had Laura Lehman on to talk about the elementals and the amazing pictures that she has taken, and she's part of the Lightbody Academy, as I mentioned on her show. So I'm just so grateful that you guys are all coming on because it's all part of what's coming. You guys have this beautiful orchestra of people that are all playing their parts to help guide us into a better world.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Laurel's connection is extraordinary. Her story is rather funny because when she first came into Lightbody, which was years ago, she didn't think she had a psychic bone in her body. No, we laugh about that
We all
now.
start laughing like, okay.
But
Yeah.
this is how it is. It's like these abilities are natural. It's just that we have this frame up that completely gives us the wrong backwards relationship to it. And this is what we're sorting out. And this is what the natural world is also helping us sort out if we're open and willing to work with nature to do that.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, we all have the ability. We just have to like tap into it, connect, which we're definitely going to talk about that. And you
Mhm.
talk about how, the biosuits that we've been taught that they are a hindrance, but they're not at all.
Not at all. No, they're vast, 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 very sophisticated biosuits. Really, the humanoid, in larger galactic perspective, the humanoid is highly sought after because of its capacities and how much of divine, what we would call reference divine consciousness, how much of it that can be embodied in a biosuit. So what we are working through is the awakening of the shutting down of our DNA dance. It's like this is our consciousness is directly connected to that. And once it's fully opened, we're all, now we're all walking around as Christ beings, the awakened Christos. There's different language to use with all that, but that's something I think most people have a perception of
Hmm.
the idea of a not just an avatar, but a truly awakened being.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's one thing I want to talk about. And one thing, well, not one thing I want to talk about, what I want to talk about is some true
Mm.
history. We know we have not been told the truth in school. And that's one thing I like to
Yes.
talk about on this show. And you
Hmm.
have been gifted with an opportunity you've had some amazing teachers in your life,
Yeah.
from indigenous backgrounds and such, where were able to be made aware of the truth of what's really happened here, who we really are, because there's been a disconnect that's happened, obviously. And we're trying to get back to that. I think we are. I think in order to go forward in a healthy way, we need to go back. And so I'm just wondering if you could just enlighten us on some of the teachings that you've learned about our true history and, where we're coming from before we talk about where we're going with solutions.
That's wonderful. Yes, connect us with our divine origins.
Yeah.
Before we continue the conversation, it's beautiful. So, well, first we need to understand that the history that we're taught is written by beings with an agenda. Cultures and governing forces, they have an agenda. So there's a very specific sense that we're being connected with. And once we are willing to visit this idea that it was those stories were intended to connect us with something less than our divine inheritance, then we can hear other creation stories. The next thing I would also like to say about stories is that our logical mind wants to go off of this story is the truth and this story is fabricated. Okay, it's actually not that simple because stories in their original form, in their original intent, if that's the right way to say it, is meant to connect us with something divine within ourselves, connect us with an origin point or a sense of something that is beyond that 4D field, that collective field. So the collective field is the consensus field. So, for example, if humanity was originated out of the Garden of Eden and we're all kicked out because we're sinners, and there's a consensus that that is the truth, now we all will walk around as if that's the truth, when really what that story like that does, it tells us that we're sinners, that we're not divine beings. And the other piece that comes right after that is that not only are you a sinner, you are now cursed to reap thistles and thorns from the earth. It's like, what an awful creation story to tell a young person, let alone a collective of humans. So and this might hit a few people in a certain way, if especially if you're brought up and you have a really strongly held beliefs in that direction. This isn't about dismissing the validity of a Christos consciousness or the divine consciousness. It's that stories were inserted into these energies that disconnect us. And if you look at the bigger model, it disconnects us directly from our interconnectedness with the all that is, and gives it to an establishment that is connected. So now, you have to go through a mediary. So stories are important to recognize in that kind of context, not truth or not, just what is it opening you up to? What is it opening you to resonate with? Okay.
Okay.
So I've heard several different types of creation stories and destruction stories. One of my favorite creation stories, oh, I'll totally cry talking about it too,
It's
is
okay.
hold on. How do I talk about it? So, I had a healing session before before today, so I'm especially tender. um, so, all right, one of my favorite comes actually out of Africa, and it is the story of the providence of women and their role in preserving the integrity of this realm, preserving the beauty, the the divine expression of this realm. And how that story goes is that a woman, one, it was the time before the moon. There was a time when the moon was not with us, and our cycles went according to the solar cycles. And solar cycles still get acknowledged now, which is important. So I don't want to confuse those two cycles as one being better than the other. Um, and what a woman would do when it was time for her to, in her heart, to bring a being into this realm, is that she would dream. And she would dream with the intention of connecting with the soul that had the benevolent frequency that was a match to this reality. And as soon as she would meet that soul in the dream, they would come to an agreement, and she would give them a body in her womb space, pray with them and meditate with them and sing with them,
Oh my goodness.
and then bring them to the world. So
Yeah.
you can imagine that child, what kind of creation story that child is told about them. Your
Yeah.
mother found you in the cosmos. She found you in the stars. She found you. You see what I mean? And
Yes.
fell in love with you and brought you here. So those kinds of stories connect us with our sacredness.
Yeah.
Yes,
Absolutely.
very different place to be.
Yeah, and that ties right in with what with the solution we're going to be talking about, which is Dreamtime Healing, which I think you've said is kind of feminine based, correct?
The way
Sort
we
of.
do it's much more feminine, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Wow, that was a beautiful story. Thank you so much. I love
Mhm.
that. It's kind of like conscious conception. I know a lot of people are getting back to that, is
Yes.
consciously conceiving. Yeah, where the child actually picks the parent and comes to them in dreams. Yeah, so that's coming back in. Yeah.
So there's stories about that too.
Yeah.
There are a lot of, and this is also something to give us a different understanding,
Yeah.
and is that this realm is so magnificent and such a empowering realm. It's also very tricky, of course, but there are many, many beings, pretty much competing, fighting each other, battling each other to get access to a woman to be born.
Wow.
Now that could be benevolent or not. It really there's different stories that were given about that, especially along the sacred Mary lines, the sacred sisterhood of divine conception. Because there are
Hmm.
stories of beings seeking these women out specifically because they were the only ones that had the capacity to bring them into this world, and and the beings they're bringing into this world were, well, let's say, not necessarily aligned with the original vision. So, and there's all kinds of stories in our history. It's hidden in plain sight. I'm talking about ancient Greek history, Roman history, the story of Alexander the Great, these kinds of things. These were real, these are stories of real hybrids that were not originally intended for the incarnational cycles of this realm, but yet got brought through via a sacred Vestal Virgin. So there's a lot to be said about what happens in becoming so in this reality.
Hmm.
There's so much understanding that would be helpful, I think, for people to get framed up in a way where, they have a different perception than because right now it's maybe rudimentary.
Yeah.
You think anything, everything outside of being in a body is something benevolent and in align with everything. And some level it is, but there's also other kinds of shenanigans going on that are impacting the consciousness of this planet and impacting the structures of this reality and how we're living. And I mean, there's so much about that. Bloodlines is a great example. Eliminating people because they don't have the right bloodline. That is an old reptilian concept from from Draco. It's like, and that that's not quite in alignment with the truth of the Sacred Mother, is that we are all divine sacred children that come
Hmm.
from her and that she supports.
Yeah, you call
And
her Pachamama,
the
right?
Yes, Pachamama. So
Yeah.
this is a Quechua term I was exposed to many, many years ago, and I just love, love, love the term of endearment so much. So I stick with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
yeah, speaking of the Draco, I mean, there was a hijacking that took place, correct? I mean, there was a time that we were connected with the other realms. We were creators and we kind of got separated from that. And would you say we're coming back to that now? This is a time of prophecy.
Yes. So when you go into indigenous records, you get a very different perspective. I'm
Hmm.
not saying every indigenous source, because there are definitely sources that are maybe more congruent with the Judeo-Christian idea model of things,
Hmm.
right? But when you go into the more ancient sources, and as in the ones that had a lot of like limited access to society in colonization and the trauma of the Inquisition and stuff like this. A lot of those stories remain intact. And
Yeah.
so, wait a minute, there was a question within the question I need to get back in touch with that, what you said. Um, this concept of hijacking. Yes. So in the those stories, there's the talk of like the great fall of Atlantis, the fall of Mu. Like there was a vast, highly advanced civilization that experienced a series of catastrophes. And that for a lot of us, we intuitively think that's when our fall was. And there are many stories that go back to around that timeline. If there's Graham Hancock did an amazing documentary it's called Ancient Apocalypse, where he goes to the different sites and they analyze. And
I
and
watched
so
that. Yeah.
yeah, so he's able to document the different stories from around the world that are telling you the same thing. There was a massive catastrophe that struck humanity, and then there was a revival that happened after that.
Hmm.
And it is these beings that we're calling Dracos Anunnaki, that were part of that revival, and that revival gave us seeds to the kinds of cultures that have blossomed now. But also in the story, they also are telling us that just now, today, the earth, the Pachamama, has finally recovered. She has healed from that catastrophe. And this is the opposite of what the Western mainstream narrative is telling us, because they're telling us that the earth is dying, everybody's, all the terrible things. And yes, terrible things do happen and things do die out. And there's also miracles going on at the same time. And these sacred stories, when you visit them, it reminds you of that at a deep level. So you can see the catastrophobia going on. Sorry, that's actually the name of a book from Barbara Hand Cloud that does this whole theory. But I love the
I
term
love it.
catastrophobia.
Yeah.
Yes, because we have been threatened with Armageddon. I don't know about you, but since I was what,
Oh
5?
yeah.
And
Fear, fear, fear.
fear, fear, fear.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember Mad Max. That was one of my favorites.
Yes. Everybody, I know it's always something, right?
Yes,
Our parents had to get under their desks at school and
yes,
back and
it's
back and back. Yeah.
over and over again. And this is on purpose, in my opinion. It's done on purpose to keep us in a
Yes.
certain frame.
Yes.
And that frame is keeping us in a very manipulative path. We can be told what to think when we're in that kind of frame.
Absolutely. I love how you talk about how fear is an illness. Fear is the illness.
Is oh, did I say that to you?
You
Okay,
did.
okay.
You say brilliant things in your video. I'm telling you, watching your videos, I'm like, how am I ever going to like make this into 2 hours? Because you're just so, I mean, you're mind blowing. The stuff you talk about is amazing. Yeah, did you forget you said that?
Yes, well, to you, yes, because that's something I said a long time ago. I remember saying
Oh,
this a long time ago because that was said to me
okay.
years ago. So I live in the Rocky Mountains, and there's some very magical nooks and crannies here, vortexes, stargates, and really amazing places.
Hmm.
And I was working with a group of medicine people and way, way out in the middle of nowhere. It's like 5 hours away. It's, very far away from civilization. So the nature's pristine. A lot of it's very
Awesome.
pristine. And we walked into this area of the mountains by a glacial river and waterfall. And the people I was with, they just all kind of all stopped walking and they got distracted, went a different direction. And I had no idea I was alone. And I just kind of kept walking. And the place started feeling like I was going into this magical wonderland. And I was met by these fey beings to stop me, because you weren't supposed to go into this realm. And they did. I stopped and they said to me, or no, they were looking and I was looking at them and someone said, she doesn't have the sickness. She can go ahead, which was the fear they're talking about. And I was like, wow, really? Like really?
Did you know what they
And
were talking about at the time, or did you?
I knew they were referring to me and I knew they were talking about fear being the sickness.
Oh,
I was
awesome.
kind of shocked that I didn't have it.
Yeah.
And that's not something, and nothing's a permanent state.
Hmm.
In that moment, in the state of being that I was in, I didn't have it.
Yeah. What
You
state
see,
was it, would you say? Was it wonder? Was it?
love. I was
Mm.
just so full of just love and yeah, the love for so this particular area is one of my favorite places on the planet. The mountains, very high to 14ers. It's the Sangre de Cristos Mountains, which is the tallest mountain range in the prestigious United States. They're all 14ers, they're all 14,000 feet and higher.
Oh my goodness.
Very sacred. And so I was already on cloud nine, so to speak. And then it just kind of kept ratcheting up more and more and more. And then, by the time I end up there, I was like, la, inside, like, ah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing that story. I love that.
thanks.
Love
Yes.
that. So just real quick, I think we mentioned on the phone, before we leave the topic of, the past. I think you mentioned that there were other beings, correct? That weren't just us, that we spent time with in, say, Lemuria, or I don't know. Did you say
And
that on the phone that there were like other beings around in that time that we interacted with?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, I don't think we talked about that, but yes, I
Yeah,
concur with
can you
that.
just
I
talk
have a
about some of
story.
them? Because I'm sure the audience is curious too.
Okay, so we have sacred stories about the land of Mu,
Hmm.
Atlantis, and those were advanced civilizations.
Hmm.
And a lot of the stories are framed up to bring us to the idea that we're just humans. We're just different, maybe different forms of humans. But there's other stories that tell us that those were the reason why the consciousness was so accelerated and the technology was so accelerated in those times is because that was a culture of many different races. And I'm not talking about black, white, or Asian or whatever. That's not the kind of race I mean. I'm talking about different kinds of humanoid races. So this is where the Hyperboreans existed. This is where there was the humanoid. Then there was also the beings that we refer to now as Sasquatch. There's also very tall blue beings. There were many different races of humanoids that existed at that time. And when you have multiple races of beings like that occupying the same time space zone, consciousness accelerates very, very quickly. And the kind of growth and DNA dance maturity that's possible for all those races is heightened because of that mixed, we'll just say DNA dance space holding,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what you say is that what you mentioned connects me with the stories of the original, I will say the golden age of Atlantis and Mu.
Yes. Awesome. So cool. And so I guess when the fall happened, what happened to them? Did they?
happened in stages.
Okay.
And well, so a
Or the
lot.
the catastrophe. I'm sorry, not the fall. You said that's something different.
They're kind of they go hand in hand. They're stages,
Hmm.
stages of fall. It's not like, flick a switch and now we're all stupid.
Yeah. But you said the fall is really has to do with consciousness. I think
Yes,
you've
it
said.
does.
Yeah.
But this reality has everything to do with consciousness. So
Yes.
what the short answer to your question is that they didn't go anywhere. We're just not in the same realm of them anymore because of
Okay.
our consciousness.
Yes. But we
And this
do
is,
have, go ahead, sorry.
well, no, you're on the right track. I feel it.
Yeah.
Yes, this is everything
Yeah.
you
I
say
mean,
is
but
true.
we do have a way that we're starting to plug back in, and you're teaching people how to do this through Dreamtime.
Yes. And and
Um,
and cultivating relationships with exospecies.
yes.
So when we wake up to those things being real and having an interaction and having a relationship, we're rebuilding that type of reality where multiple beings, those zones are overlapping again.
Yeah.
So this is what I mean about the frame up. What happened? Like, where did they go? Well, they didn't actually go anywhere.
Yeah.
We're just blind to it all now.
Yeah. Yeah. But we're waking up to it again. Yes, and we're
Yes,
in exciting
absolutely.
times. So yeah, so we talk about where we're coming from, and there is, I think you talk about the Dark Lords of Saturn. They are very real. We can't ignore them away, but we can acknowledge them, which I say act on the knowledge, and we can do some healing and we can empower ourselves, which is what you're
Mhm,
doing. So thank you for that. We're going to pull
mhm.
ourselves out of this and
Yeah.
head in a different direction. So one thing you do is you do dreamtime healing work with people.
Yes. Can
Yeah.
we back up a little bit just
Yes,
to talk
please. Yeah.
just a little bit about the Dark Lords of Saturn?
Yes.
This is a great example on how the reality is hidden in plain sight.
Hmm.
Okay. For example, Saturn astrology talks about being a holding of structure and form. People, and it's also Chronos, which is linear time and space holder, and
Hmm.
it's also quote the devil in the tarot. Okay.
Yeah.
And the devil is all about, your weakness. If you can be seduced by your own weakness, your fear, your victim story, this kind of thing.
Hmm.
And all right, so so that kind of architecture is already there. And there's
Hmm.
a lot of, I mean, astrology, a lot of people are into it. Even if at just a casual kind of thing, but there's a sense of it. And then we also have the symbolism that's woven into our structures from Saturn, like the wedding ring, and this kind of thing, because that's representing
Earrings. Yeah.
yeah, for life commitment, like you're locked in now, right? This
Yeah.
idea. And we also have the phenomenon of the Star Wars story, where we're told the story of the making of a Dark Lord and what that looks like. Okay. Now, and they didn't start off dark, they got seduced into it.
Yeah.
So when you take these archetypes, and this was an obsession in the Western world, of Star Wars back in the day. You might be, actually, I don't remember
Yeah.
the age difference that we have, but
I know Star Wars. Okay.
it was in late 70s, early 80s when this came out, and people were camping out to get tickets to see this phenomenon. And of course, it turned into this whole franchise because there's truth in that story that we've been starved for, and we just once we get the slightest little taste, it's like we're just drawn to it. Whether you believe in aliens or whatever or not has absolutely no different, it makes no difference whatsoever. You want to hear that story over and over again because it's reminding us of something that we've been disconnected from. And in my opinion, when I look at the collective field, that was the big missing piece for humanity, to put those two things together. The idea of that the consciousness of Saturn holding structures, and there are dark lords associated with those structures. It's like, okay, now we can think and look at this very differently than these just woo-woo stories that are out there. They're things that are very real for the here and now that impact our lives on a daily basis.
Yes.
So there you go. Now
Yes.
to see how it's a hidden in plain sight. It's right in front of us. We see it, but it's like the dots don't quite get connected in a way that really empower us.
Yes,
Well,
absolutely.
until
No,
now.
yes, until now. And that's collapsing in front of us now.
Yes, aspects of
Yes.
this is definitely collapsing,
Yeah.
which is scary. In this, that's actually also part of the game
Yeah.
to, what, so some of the in lineages that I worked with were wisdom keepers from Kyoto, which were Quechua people in the high Andes Mountains. It's a collection of villages that span between Peru and Bolivia. And they knew these times were coming, and the sacred dreamers in that council would do prayer sessions together, and the prayer was more of a divination. And one thing that they stressed over and over again each year is that, always turn to the mother. If you are fearful you're going to starve, turn to the mother. If you're fearful for clothes, or what, always turn to the mother. Whatever you feel like it can be taken away from you at any moment, turn to the mother. And that might seem kind of trite, but when you put into context how when we sing and pray with the earth, when we connect with our spirit, with nature, there is an instant feedback loop that happens that confirms we're heard, you know? And so when you put those together, it's like, okay, it's, there's something you can really truly rely on there. And versus these systems we subconsciously know are false and also fading away and also kind of life sucking. You know what I
Yes,
mean? So
very
yeah,
much so.
yes, yes.
Yes.
So that's
Yeah.
always where I go back to. If I'm lost and don't know what to do, it's like, or I don't know the decision to make, this kind of thing. It's like, well, what brings me back? What brings me back to the earth? What brings me back to nature? And actually that's what sustained me the past few years. It's like being a nomad, right? I was a nomad for several years.
Yeah.
And that was an interesting time. There's great things and not so great things about that lifestyle. One of the great things is that I don't think I missed a sunrise or sunset for 3 years, three,
Oh,
4 years.
wow. How many people can say that? Yeah.
Right. It's quite magnificent actually, because that's such a everything in nature settles. There's something different about the sunrise and sunset. It's like everything in nature is preparing for it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Did
It's
you
beautiful.
find that things would just beautifully and magically work out for you, like synchronistically when you were? I mean, it happens all the time, right? But I've heard that people that are nomadic, it's like you don't know where your next meal is going to come from sometimes, and they're
You definitely come closer to the magic of grace. Yes. I would say this is
very
actually there's a
cool.
one woman that I met on that journey. We only had a few weeks together, but she like really I, for one, we started off really rocky, right? Like, and
Yeah.
it's because I'm the way I am, and she's the way she is just how that is.
Yeah.
But there's things she would say to me just off the cuff, and it would land like wow. And one of them was she was in this position where she was a nomad, but she didn't have a vehicle, she didn't have a driver's license. There was all these things that she didn't have that I can't imagine being a nomad without, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, so I hear a little bit of the story and I'm stunned. I'm like, how do you do that? Like, you know?
Yeah.
And I think initially she took that as kind of like a judgment or an insult. So it took a couple weeks for us to, get back to being, that exchange again.
Yeah.
Anyway, once I learned more about the story, she told me some stories of her travels. And there was a very wise man, an older gentleman in New Mexico, runs a hostel in New Mexico, I think. And he said, when you really travel with the bare basics, with almost, as close to nothing as you can get, you're much lighter in your spirit, and quite literally, the road will provide whatever you need, the road will provide. And she's telling me the story and it's sinking in, and I'm just like, wow. And it's like coming in, I'm like, I am so far away from that right now.
I hear
But
you, but yeah.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
And that was the state that she was in,
Yeah.
right? And it's very vulnerable. It's scary. I mean, there's so many things to it. And
Yeah.
I realized you really have to be clear about who you're allowing yourself to be around when you're in that kind of grace state.
Yeah.
And because there's the frequency matches are going to bring miracles, and the frequency mismatches are going to bring some scary moments of perhaps vulnerability is not such a great thing to experience with in their company.
Yeah.
So excuse me, I know I've been fighting something off
It's okay.
too. I had my I had a cranial session this morning. It was so good. But he did say something about my breathing and the heart and the lungs. And
Oh no.
well, I knew when he was saying it, it resonated. And he's like, just relax for a little bit before you get up off the table. And when I was in stillness with myself, I started coughing.
Maybe something needs to come up. You're purging.
Indeed. Oh yeah. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
okay. We're
Yeah,
both
I
purging.
don't.
We'll just be coughing together on
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
the show.
Yeah, I very rarely get sick, but
Yeah.
actually, even that is a construct, right? Perceiving those things on that level.
Yeah. Yeah. This
So
happens to
yeah.
me once a year. It's purging, I think. Yeah. But
Oh yeah, yeah. This is the time for it.
yeah. So what were you about to say?
No, it's gone. I'm
Okay.
good.
Okay. So, okay, so let's talk about Dreamtime healing work.
Mm.
So it gets the Dreamtime body to full potential, to be ambassadors and sacred dreamers, creating new earth, which benefits all life. I feel like that was kind of my interpretation of it. Um,
Okay.
but but what is Dreamtime healing work? Oh, one thing you said that I love is we are in a dream heading towards awakening.
Yes. Did I say
And
that?
you did. Well, one thing I want to talk about real quick, a touch on, you touched on this briefly, which I find fascinating before we dive into Dreamtime healing work. But I mean, Dreamtime's been very significant and pivotal for you in your life because you met your teachers through dreaming. I think you
Yes.
briefly touched on that in the beginning, but would you mind talking a little bit about that? Because that's fascinating.
Okay. Well, so this overlaps with, or it also overlaps with having contact experiences.
Okay.
Okay. So, for those that aren't familiar with that term contact experience, it's really referring to having contact with beings that are not necessarily of this realm. Some people might call them ETs or this kind of thing, abduction experiences.
Yeah.
Um, so when I was younger, a little bit like 6 years, yeah, around just, yeah, probably around 6 years old. This is where some major cracking moments happened. So I don't, a lot of us, star seeds, earth seeds, whatever you want to, however that resonates,
Yeah.
we have like a surge of an epiphany before we start going into the indoctrination cycle that shuts us down. Okay, and there's a very usually there's a story around 5 years old where we have some kind of awakening awareness, like this kind of thing. And what I've come to realize what's going on is that it's a surge to inundate us with the encodements of everything we need to see ourselves through to the other side of a major turbulence, major trial and tribulation kind of thing. And this is took me a long time to figure that out. So when I was younger with the dream work, I was visited in dream by beings that I knew. And now, granted, I'm a kid, so I don't really have a context to, what's going on. I just know the feeling that I have with these beings. They're very, very tall and sectoid, and they were letting me know, oh, more tears. They were letting me know that I was about to go through something really, really, really awful, and that I was going to be okay. I was going to make it through. So, so there was that. So that surge, the download, right,
Yeah.
came in the same dream when I was coming back into the realms of this reality. I end up getting encountering these other beings, the dark beings that they were talking about, where so and then the interaction with them continued nearly every night for like a decade. So it was really, really dark. And later on, well, we can talk about the other stuff later on, but it was a challenge to just survive that, right? So I survived this, and when coming out the other side, becoming whole again, I have these capacities that are just not normal. Like it's like I really knew I was not normal on the other side of all that, and at the same
Yeah.
time, I didn't know what to do about it. I
Yeah.
knew that I wanted to be close to God, whatever that meant. And at that time, I was like maybe 14 years old. The only holy people I knew back then were nuns and priests. Okay. I didn't know about Buddhist lineages. I didn't know about shamanic lineages or mysteries. I didn't know any about that. I just knew I wanted to be close to God. And of course I said I made the mistake of saying that out loud, and my family thought that was the most ridiculous thing in the world. And pretty much, I'm way too tainted to be a life of a holy person, pretty much was their reflection. So that really, I kept it inside after that, right? And once that consolidation decision was made, beings would appear and dispensate insight. And it didn't make sense logically, but energetically, it was changing me. And eventually, fast forward another 10 years, 10, 15 years, I'm married and have kids. And all of a sudden I realized I was going to meet one of those beings. I just knew it. I just knew that one of these beings that were working with me in Dreamtime, I was about to cross paths with them, and I did. And then, and there was one Barbara who I didn't realize that she was in my dreams until we met. And when I met her, I realized, oh my gosh, we've been having conversations for years.
Oh
We've
my
been having
gosh.
activations for years. And it wasn't until I met her did I have this like dawning realize, like, oh my gosh, this is you know. So dream work is really elusive and very frustrating to the logical conscious mind, because most of what's going on is beyond what we can perceive because of the of our structures of who we think we are and all this other stuff. And this is what in the beginning what those teachers were doing, were shattering my ideas about reality, myself, like contact experiences. That was a whole journey even to figure out what was going on during those 10 years. And there was so many suppressed memories that came. So in the dream realm, you can work things out on the energetic, so you can heal and be whole in the waking world when you're in your physical body and awakening the biosuit. So the
Yeah.
dream realm is just as impactful on the waking world as our sleeping, as everything else is. It's just that we're told that, oh, it's just a dream. We're told to keep it separate. Just like with these other beings in these other realms, we're told that it's not our world. It's somewhere over there. It's out there in the east, or it's out there in the setting sun of the west. We're told
Yep.
stories like this. So,
Yeah.
so what they were doing was completely rearranging my subconscious, so I can have these understandings, and then of course convey them, because
Yeah.
the lineage I get involved with without even knowing, we're all about dreaming the world into being. And I
Yeah.
had no conscious understanding really what that was when I got started. I just knew that I called for a teacher, and there he was, and I knew it was him. That was
Yeah.
all I really knew in the moment.
Oh, awesome.
So you guys are benefiting from me. This is like 30 years, 35 years of stuff of work. You guys are benefiting from all that I've learned from that, well, because you guys are all accelerated, all the generations,
Hmm.
that are younger than I am. Everything about your guys' path is super accelerated. So you guys need these stories and these understandings to really, well, stay sane
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
step onto your path
Yeah.
of why you're really here.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. Thank you.
the
So before we go any further, I just maybe for the audience define what you mean by like biosuit, and then also you're going to probably be referring to oh, where is it? You call it the Dreamtime suit, I believe. I'm looking at my notes here.
Oh,
Yeah.
I talk about the dream body sometimes. Yes.
Yeah. Could you just kind of define, because I know you're probably going to be using that terminology going forward, just define that for everybody so they know what you mean when you use those terms?
Okay, dream time. All right. So the program that you're talking about or referencing is the Dreamtime Healing Project.
Yes. Yes.
So with that, it's a path of re reconstructing, reestablishing internal and energetic architecture, so you
Okay.
can have an intact dream body.
Okay.
See, right now it's all ours is all broken down, and well, unless you had a lot, and there are many star seeds that have had a lot of mystery school training, so we come in a bit more intact than
Yeah.
others.
Yeah.
But if you have a lineage with a lot of trauma, a soul journey with a lot of trauma stuff, it takes some time to reconstruct, to repair
Hmm.
the inner architecture. So Dreamtime I'll just say it's referring to everything that we don't see. There is a threshold where they overlap, though. In
Hmm.
there are indigenous stories that tell us about and Celtic indigenous stories that tell us about this. And they've also built stone circles that maintain the overlapping of the realms
Love
in
it.
the Celtic lands, right? So
Yes.
it is a living, breathing field. Um, but we have to tune ourselves in order to have a healthy, autonomous relationship with it. And this is so you're covering a lot of bases by working with Dreamtime. So
Hmm.
just getting yourself into the state of having clear intent, having a sacred relationship to your dream time, having dream time recall, and just turning that into a sacred relationship with self. There's a lot of other things that you get benefit from. You know what I mean? This covers a lot of things. Rebuilding that architecture, rearranging your belief systems, making things more, opening your intuitive senses. And I don't mean just the third eye. I'm talking about the lenses of the body that can see and engage in the unseen realm, your ability to create from that reality. All of those bases are covered by the simple act of cleaning up your relationship to dream time.
Yes, absolutely. And you've said, we're divine dreamers and
Yeah.
creators, and
Yes.
we can literally that the big game changer you've said is dreaming this world into being. We create a world with our spirit, which benefits all life because all life is spirit. Um, and that's where we're heading, correct? We're,
Well, this is where
we
we
need to
are
get
right now.
focused.
We just don't
Yeah.
know it. Humanity's waking up
Yes.
to
Yeah.
that.
Could you elaborate on that and how you've said we need to get focused on what we want, coming
Yes.
from a space of who we truly are?
Well, that's the big
Yeah.
trick.
Yeah.
That's the big trick, getting to that space that's who we truly are.
Hmm.
So one of the teachings in Dreamtime, I had to get this download many, many times over because I was so stubborn. I still am. But maybe not quite as much, is that reality is not what I think it is.
Mm.
Reality is not what I think it is. And they're alluding that it is more mind-blowing than the story, you know the movie The Matrix, when he
Mm.
realizes that they're all enslaved in these pods and all this stuff. They're saying it's even more mind-blowing than that.
Oh my
So
gosh.
they're just reposing, yeah, they're just resituating my mind so I can be more poised to see things as they truly are and work with it. So when we pare away the who we think we are, that is extremely revealing because we can see the same thing over and over again. Say we're watching the same thing over and over again for 20 years. It won't change until we unravel some blind spots, and then all of a sudden we'll look at the same scene and get something completely different from it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I've
So
experienced that. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So this is one of the huge benefits of doing ancestor work,
Mm.
because most of what we think is us is actually unresolved energy patterns from our ancestors. Okay. Mental, emotional, spiritual pain, wounding from our ancestors. This
Hmm.
is why death rites is so important for us to do, even for ancestors that have already passed, because once we call them forward and unwind that, it unwinds from us and it's no longer skewing our lens. We're that much closer to what is truly us.
Yeah.
Now, the Tao is a really interesting tradition. This is something that I had lots of lifetimes in, and I have a deep, deep, deep connection with even today. And one of their main focuses is, cultivating the energy for longevity. So you aim for immortality in those practices. You don't aim, for you don't aim for, okay, well, what I don't get this time, I'll get next time. It's like, no, 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 no. The biosuit is so full of illusion delusions from ancestry. It takes 40 years of diligent work just to clear that out. And you are fortunate to find yourself in that. That's how much of a crapshoot this reality is. So what this is, that knowledge is like, okay, we really are so far away from who we truly are. We can't know what we want until all of this gets dealt with. Okay. And then
Mhm.
this, and so this is we address this in many angles in Lightbody, but also with my teachers. See, everything that my teachers brought to me to transform me, because I really believe I was so messed up. I was so messed up. It's a miracle. It's a miracle that I'm well walking and breathing, but it's a miracle that I know myself. I really feel like
Yeah.
I was that jacked up.
Oh
You
my
know?
goodness.
So so you guys understand, all of you sitting out there saying, "Yeah, no, I'm too messed up for that." It's like,
Oh,
no, if I'm here, you could be here. You know. So all
yeah.
the different ways they took me through waking me up. This is what we do in Lightbody. All the, so there's this memory piece and this understanding of the ancestral stuff, but then there's also transmissions, which is a lot of the work is building a new light body, building a new code of who you are.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the map of your unfoldment is completely different than what you came in with, right? So that is a huge, that allows us for a big quantum leap into connecting with who we really are, because it fast tracks us with a lot of this unresolved stuff. Now, who you really are is a moving target, but it is a feeling that does feel like it's home when you're there. And whatever your purpose is, your purpose for your soul being here, that is something that benefits everybody. All beings benefit from you being you and me being me. And what's going on here is that it's so foreign to us that we have to hit it at all these different angles and to wake up to it. And once you do, it's a dawning. It's a dawning, and once that dawning happens, and you can touch it, and things are always in flux. So how it is one moment won't be how it is in another moment later. But you've been there once, so you can always get back. It's one of those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Like when I was the world before GPS.
Uh-huh.
If I was able to find it on a map and drive there, it could be years could go by. I could always find my way back to wherever that place is. So it's to me, it's like that kind of level of memory. It's something that will never go away because it's in there.
Hmm.
And so when you discover that frequency of your truth and you align your intent to have that, that's what you're gonna pull through in dream time. That's what's gonna come. Those are the encodements. And it's
Mm.
it's fascinating because we struggle with the logical mind a lot because we really, I think because it takes a lot of hard work to do
Yeah.
all these unwindings, we really want to check stuff off the list and say we're done with that. Oh yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
But
No.
it's never like that.
Yeah.
So the kinds of things our logical mind needs to show us that we're achieving and we're deserving gets in the way, and that's why it fluctuates. So we'll be in the moment of receiving the miracle and having the synchronicity bring exactly what we're dreaming forward into our reality, and then we'll fluctuate again into another kind of zone where it's not quite that direct. And then
Yeah.
so it's this moving, always moving.
Yeah.
And this is why you need a community to hold the space, because there's always at least one person in it, in their
Yeah.
pillar, right? And then
Yes.
we stabilize each other. And this is
Yeah.
why in the new paradigm, healing is not an individual thing. I mean, one-on-one healing does have some purpose. Like I had a cranial session. It was really great. It was something I really needed today.
Yeah.
But the bigger healing, it's collective. It's together we do it. It's not an individual thing.
Hmm.
It's much more accelerated that way because who we really are, it's about who we are all the time. It's like waking up in that, making decisions in that, changing diapers and driving to the store in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we can't do it if it's only this little tiny sliver of our life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did it?
Um,
Okay, hopefully I covered the whole
you
thing with
did.
that.
You did.
Okay.
I know a lot of cultures, like speaking of dreaming and community, there are a lot of cultures, and you talk about the importance of this too, is talking about our dreams,
Yes.
getting a community, getting a community together and talking about your dreams. Because I know there are a lot of indigenous cultures, they'll wake up in the morning and that's the first thing they do. They sit around and they talk about their dreams, and that's kind of how they decipher what's going on in reality. Yeah.
Yes, because our reality is so bass backwards, we
Yeah.
need reminding, right? So
Hmm.
if you wait, imagine starting your day off with family because sharing a dream isn't just talking about weird stuff. It's not like, oh, look how weird my dream was. No, no, no. It's sharing sacredness. It's a
Mm-hmm.
frequency, it's a field of sacredness that you're talking about. So when you're starting your morning off sharing sacredness with your beloveds,
Yeah.
now that's a solid foundation to and just like with how we started about stories,
Yeah.
when we start off a conversation connecting with our sacredness first, then moving forward, then there's a centeredness and there's a truth that comes out in a much more easy way than if we just started off and my ego driver's talking to your ego driver and oh we're just having a bunch of ego driver fun, right? It's like
Yeah.
that the same essence isn't won't be present, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Yes, it does make sense. It does make
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
And the dream realm is a very real realm. And I mean, there's various realms we can travel to in Dreamtime, correct? And various
Yes.
entities we can interact with.
Oh, yes. Sky's the limit on, well, not even the sky is the limit on that one. The
Yeah.
cosmos is the limit. Yeah. So anytime you have a beloved that wants to connect with you, they'll most likely do that in dream time.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know many people, and maybe you yourself, you've had dreams of people that have died
Yeah.
or recent or just recently died and they want to let you know, this kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah. I just dreamed about my cat who passed. So, yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
See, dream time. What I really love about it is it really shows what's real, what's really true, right?
Hmm.
So, for example, when a four-legged companion comes back to connect with you, it's because
Yes.
there was a special bond there. It wasn't
Yes.
just the story of a bond, it was truly a bond.
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
our dog died a while ago, and I was concerned about her because we had her cremated, and I had a feeling that she wasn't going to be alone in it. I thought that I kind of had this image after I signed the paper and gave them, you know, her body to them. I had this image of her going in with a whole pile of other dogs, you know, and
Yeah.
it's like, oh man, so whatever ashes they give me is going to be whatever.
Yeah.
I was grieving and distraught, so I wasn't thinking clearly,
No, I
and
hear you. Yeah.
so I was concerned about that. And then that night, or maybe the night after, it was around that time. I'm I'm in the space in between in my dream time and a hotel, and her and another dog come knocking at the door in my hotel room, and she's like, "Hey, it's okay, no problem. Look who I met," you know. And she was a
Put
very
together.
friendly dog. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
She was another pug type dog, and I was like, "Oh, this is really cute. This is great." And it's like I feel so much better now. I'm not going to worry about
Yeah, it
it.
does help. It does help. And not to like totally change the subject, but one thing you talk about that's interesting, and it's funny, this is something I wanted to bring up in past shows. I just never did. And I'm feeling called to do it now, but my cat, it took her, you know how they give them when you put them down, they give them they give them sedation shots and then the shot that sends them off into the next realm.
Hmm.
He was so chunky, it took 4 sedation shots to get him just out cold. And
Wow.
after a while, I'm like, are we really meant to be doing this? Maybe he's not ready. Maybe this is, I was kind of struggling in the moment. And the vet assured me, like, no, you don't want to just let him go naturally. So, he was heavily sedated and drugged when he passed. And I know, and I've heard before, and you talk about how sometimes when people pass and they're heavily drugged, they're a little bit
Yeah.
disoriented in the when
Yeah.
their spirit journey begins.
Yes,
And
that's true.
and it took him a while to find me. That was weeks ago that he passed, and I haven't heard anything from him since
Okay.
until literally 2 nights ago he came to me, and I thought of you, and I thought of he's finally found his way. I think he was probably a little bit lost initially because he was so drugged up. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but that is something that can happen, and there are things we can do to help our loved ones
Absolutely. Yes.
in that
Yes.
situation, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Human and not. Absolutely. There
Yeah.
are all kinds of things we can do. You know, and I would really love someone to leave this conversation to recognize that they have so much capacities available to them to help their beloveds, especially on the other side. Um, because there's nothing to stop you,
Yeah.
right? There's nothing that can stop you really. So the things that we do in this reality um, have a direct impact in the unseen world, especially with when we have that intention, a very clear, focused intent.
Hmm.
And it doesn't matter if you can sense it happening or not. It's the focused intent that matters. Everything else just let nature take its course, right? So there's things you can do in the process of dying to eliminate the need for the drugs. There's those kinds of cleaning up energies. I call it recapitulation, um, which is easier to do with a family member than it is your cat or dog or pig or whatever your animal is, right? I
Yeah,
say pig
yeah,
just because we had a neighbor girl that had a micro pig instead of a dog. They are so cute. They're
they
really
are.
wonderful little pets.
They are.
Anyway, yeah. So there's things you can do in the process to make it where drugs aren't needed, so the organs can shut down without so much pain. And then there's things you can do after the passing has happened. And it can be as simple as lighting a candle, feeling the energy of home, and singing a song. It
Yeah,
could be that simple.
I love
And
that. Yeah,
yes, and there are many indigenous traditions that do include singing your beloved home. And it became really important, especially as our 4D field started to thicken, because a lot of the, we'll say, indigenous tribes that were not necessarily part of the colonization process or the shutting down process understood that it's very easy to get lost in that space in between. So they would make sure that it was a group activity to sing your beloved back home. So they went home to prime creator source home, or wherever their idea of home was, instead of the reincarnational cycles of this planet, because they understood that you can get lost in that. And there are that have gotten lost in that. There are mystery schools today that are that have been able to cut through that process, in very in underground Mayan societies, but certain Tibetan and indigenous, we'll say, indigenous Buddhist sects.
hmm,
Okay. Because there's the one that comes to me is the Bonpo, which I talk about often. They're very, very tribal, shamanic, but they are devout Buddhists.
hmm,
So, and how they cut through the reincarnational cycles is they, for one, when someone passes, there's a very significant ceremony and releasing of the energy they do, similar to death rites, to make sure that they leave cleanly and with no big hangups. Like there, no part of them is stuck in the underworlds. No part of them is stuck anywhere. They're very clean, consolidated, and in that consolidation, they cremate the body. And in the cremation of the body, the parts of the consciousness that has alchemical abilities would leave jewels behind in the ashes. And then they would collect those jewels and use those jewels as like a compass to find the reincarnation of that Lama Rinpoche, Grandmaster, whatever their title was. And it takes a few years, but then they would find them and then give them the jewels, different things made from those jewels to help them remember themselves through the incarnational cycles. And this is that is, maybe we can call it a an artificial way of maintaining immortality,
yeah,
because once the memories connect, then now it's a connection that remains for the rest of that being's life in that current biosuit.
yeah.
So I know I kind of went off in left field there with immortality, but
No,
that seems
yeah.
to be really important to people, for people to understand that, well, I guess what I'm speaking to without saying, and I'm going to say it out loud in case anybody here has it, is that this idea of the incarnational cycles of this planet being a prison planet. And there is definitely a way to look at it where you can make that argument for sure. But
Hmm,
because the solutions are so readily available to us, it's
yeah,
like, okay, yeah, that is a perspective. And if you can't have something different, do you want it? And if you do, well, hey, check this out over here.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
Um, Speaking of reincarnation, do you think in the future, like the new Earth that's coming, which we're gonna talk about in a bit, that we will remember our other lives? That we won't have this screen of forgetfulness that comes over us at birth? Or do you think it's
That's a
just part
great,
of the journey not to remember?
yeah, it's a really, really great question. So the reason why, in my perspective, the reason why we don't remember is because we're framed up incorrectly to tap into the recall.
Okay.
And okay, and that is that our dream time, our perception, the part of us that accesses things in a no time, no space way, okay, we are trying to apply a linear understanding to, and they don't jive. They don't jive. So when you have what people call past life recall, it's actually not a past life. It's not even on a timeline that's past, present, and future. It's a consciousness that exists within a field that we have access to. You see what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yep. Yep.
So then, I mean, when you look at the linear time frame, if someone's in a linear frame up and you say something and they're like, well, that makes no sense. Like, what about this? And what about that? What about my, memories of Cleopatra, memories of Mark Anthony, memories of whatever, it's like, yes, those are real memories. Okay. They are. They're real memories. And you're so vast, there's no way that that's you. It's a particle within the vast beingness that you have access to and can be informed by. And now it's less
Yes.
satisfying for the ego driver, but it's closer to the actual understanding of how it is.
Yes. Coming from infinite spirit, which is what we ultimately are.
We are infinite, yes.
Yeah.
And even the nesting dolls of dimensional realities, how they come together. Time doesn't really even exist until the fifth dimension. And it's not even linear time, it's circular time.
Oh, wow.
It's
Yeah.
cyclical time. Linear time doesn't happen until the fourth dimension.
Hmm.
And that's a very human dimension.
Hmm.
You see?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So we're waking up to who we are on all these levels. So that means we
Yeah.
need to figure out a way to process the understanding of all these levels that go against logic and reason. And
Yeah.
people, yes. So that's why we look a little crazy to the extremely rational,
Hmm.
or maybe
But
a
yeah,
lot
you're the
crazy.
one that has it together, though. We're on our way. You're on your way. Um,
Maybe. I hope so. That's the
um,
idea anyway, I'm going for.
but going back to dreaming, one thing you said that resonated and really, kind of struck a nerve with me. It's not something I thought about before, and I think it's important for people to know when they're discerning their dreams. That you said rather than use the mind to understand it, you should feel through the dream.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes,
Yeah.
that's a great,
Okay.
yes. I love that that's what you found in there because
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the key. That's the
Yeah. That's
that's the big key to tracking dreams. And actually I
yes.
kind of touched on why it's a hindrance is because our language is linear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Our alpha, beta brain waves of how we process the world, that's all linear.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're looking at something holographic or extremely abstract, their linear cuts most of the story out.
Yeah.
Did you ever try, like, you guys, I'm sure you guys have had this, you try to write a dream, like a 3-second dream down, and it's like 5 pages of
Mm-hmm.
details,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it still doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I know.
So the
Yeah.
feeling, our our emotional field is really powerful. This is something I learned during the dream, all that dream interference when I was a kid. The emotional field is so powerful, not just to move energy, but to also perceive and sense. So we can perceive and sense with our emotions and with our feeling things that our logical mind can't touch. And you probably know the story of, back way back in the day, I think it was in South America, when the ships were coming into harbor, no one could see the ships except for the medicine man. The
Mm-hmm.
medicine man was the only one that could, because what they
Yes.
were so outside of the concept of what was known.
Mm-hmm.
It was in front of them, and they literally could not see that. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's how limited we are, our cognitive mind. But
Yeah.
our feeling and our sensing, we can have it. We just don't know that's what we're having.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
So when you're tracking dream time, it's a similar kind of scenario you're working with. You're dealing with energies that are so beyond anything you've ever imagined, even possible. So you can't touch it that way. All the energy comes in, our subconscious will fill in the blanks, which is why they get kind of weird sometimes. You'll see grandma in a cockadoodle doo suit playing golf with, I don't know, Palmer or something,
Yeah.
Arnold Palmer. It's like that's why it gets really weird because our subconscious is filling in the blanks
Yeah.
because we don't have a cognitive way to understand the energy. But
Yeah.
so part of the Dreamtime Healing Project, we have something called Dream Clinic. And this is where, as a group, we track with feeling and sensing into different dreams. And
Cool.
and this brings the fullness of the dream energetically into the field.
Yeah.
And what we, when we're lucky, we get to this place where we realize, oh my gosh, we were all in the same dream. We were all dreaming the same thing, but
Yeah.
we had such different angles and flavors to it, right?
Hmm.
When
Yeah.
we're lucky, we'll get there. But a lot of times what happens is that we need to work through some of our pain and some of our injury to our heart or spirit or something like this. And that too is also a collective thing.
Yeah.
And in which case we'll end up opening the finding the rabbit hole that has the encodements to help us uh remap that part of ourselves again.
Yeah.
So some cycles are so deeply ingrained that it's pretty tricky to get them fully resolved. um that's a pretty big rabbit hole to go down. I don't know if you would want to do that, but I would say that, everything, this lifetime is especially important because we can transcend, resolve, dissolve millions and millions of existence of lifetimes in just this one. Now, I know I said there is no past and future, but there is some nesting dolls where past and future is part of the reality.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
in that way, this is what I'm talking about. So
Yeah.
that's why so many of us are resolving our wounding from the Orion Wars, from the Draco domination experience, the power over dynamics, from all these different narratives that are in the human realm that clearly are sourced somewhere else. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and yes, so we're undoing all of that in this
Yes.
lifetime and during this space.
Yes. And we have a lot of help from the other realms. Like you mentioned, our ancestors is huge. They're reaching out to help us. Um, um, Elementals,
Yes.
we can access them through the dream time and they're helping us, correct?
Hmm.
And you talk about something very interesting that I'd never heard of, dream masters, which are amphibious in nature.
Yes.
Now
So
that,
ooh, that's a deep mystery there.
yeah, that you encountered those in the astral. So the dream world is very interesting. It's not just our dreams, but there's other beings we can access in other
Yes.
realms.
So the Dream Masters they're enlisted to lay the groundwork for any reality to unfold. So they exist before anything else.
Hmm.
So this reality was first dreamt forward by the Dream Masters before the rest of us came in and started meddling around.
Goodness.
That makes sense. Yes. Yes. They it's hard to explain that. But, strangely enough, we have their image in our mythology, which is really cool. See, this is why it's
Yeah.
so cool. I mean, mythology, don't, I encourage everybody to check it out. Even movies that really super interest you, because there's truth in there that we just haven't recognized yet.
Yeah.
And I will mention this just because it's so cool. It's so cool. And the Dreamweavers they're totally fine with me talking about it. Long time, while in another time before this one, it was not okay to talk about the Dream Masters because there are certain things that needed to stay hidden. But now, they allude that it's okay to talk about. Actually, it's really encouraging for people. So they existed. They were the first ones to come forward and start dreaming this world into being. And this world was meant to be, a magical world of form and shape. And what these beings, so once they dream us into being, they're always connected to us. There's never a disconnection. So all of creation that has any kind of shape and form has connection to these beings. And of course, they're outside of time and space, all that. And there's five that were brought together for this reality, to dream this reality forward. And what they look like, there's two Hollywood movies, believe it or not, that talk about them, but not in the context at all, in the sacred context that I'm talking about. The first one was The Swamp Thing, the black and
Hmm.
white, The
Ooh,
Swamp Thing, the
scary
horror
looking.
movie.
Yeah.
Yes, terrifying. But see, they do this on purpose, right? There's this because it's all about
Yeah.
keeping us separated. So when we have a dream, if one of those masters come in and we actually have the clear in a dream time and we actually have some part of us that can perceive it clearly and it resembles the swamp thing from this horror movie, we're totally going to dismiss that and not go any deeper.
Yeah. Scream and run the other direction. It's like, I'm here
Yeah,
to help you. Okay, bye. Yeah.
right. Well, so you can see how, again, story can be used against us.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
there's another movie, and this one I love. Actually, I think this is one of the best strange movies that has been out in quite some time, and that is The Shape of Water.
Oh, I love that movie. I
Yes, so
love
that
that movie. Yes.
so
Oh,
yes,
I should
that
watch that
being,
again, actually. That was a great movie. Highly recommend if you haven't seen it.
yes,
Yes.
highly recommend. So that being, that's what the weavers look like to us when we perceive them.
Okay. And they
And
exist in their own realm?
they're in
They
all
exist.
realms. They're in
They're in all
all
realms.
realms.
Okay.
Yes. So
So,
how, so what makes them materialize versus not materialize, right? It's
yeah.
about their focus.
Okay.
Okay, so energetically, say someone's tracking you, someone's thinking about you, right?
Mm-hmm.
We will all feel it when someone's thinking about us. We
Mm-hmm.
won't know that. Most of the time, we don't know that unless you're, on this path, and then you'll be like, oh, wow, this person's dropping into my field for some reason.
Yeah.
But if they're really focusing on you in a major way, they'll actually start to materialize. You'll actually start to see like a shadow or a shape or
Oh, wow.
something
Yeah.
out of the corner of your eye. So
Yeah.
that's what so these beings, that's what they're doing. They're focusing
Yeah.
their consciousness on that point where you are, and that is how you're able to see them. This is true with fairies and Sasquatch and all the beings of the unseen realm that we know about. It's about that focused, and then that brings them into, say, our zone of reality
Yeah.
where we can have some sort of visual. It's
Yeah.
usually out of the corner of the eyes, though. It's very rarely straight on.
Okay.
So it can be, but that takes there's a lot of work that went in order, it's something happened with that human to be able to actually look straight on and see it like that. Something is
Yeah.
really opened in them that's not usual.
Yeah. My God, I have like so many questions like running through my head. So as
Cool.
far as Dreamtime healing, like what else should we touch on here? I'm trying to think. I don't know if I've done a good job of like asking questions about it. Um,
Well, so here's the thing about feminine medicine. Actually, spirit medicine in general, but especially feminine medicine. There are no direct answers.
okay. Yeah.
And I think this is also that feeling you have. It's like I'm asking direct questions, but do I feel like I got the answer? So,
Yeah.
and it's because it's about introducing ideas and thought that, as the younger kids say, that hit. Okay.
Yeah.
Once it hits, then it's like, okay, now it's expanding something.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
this now it's a living field. And now, as the sacredness being that you are, it's up to you to nurture the field.
Hmm.
How do you nurture the field? Creativity, beauty. Then now it's the stories that I'm talking about. Now
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
raising a garden. It's not just, oh, you grow, do that, you can set a timer and have it all just automatically done by a robot or something. No, because the sacredness of your presence isn't there. Those vegetables are not going to grow the same. And
Yeah.
actually, this is actually shows us in this life too, with our the sacred relationship with the earth. All right, I'm going to go on a tangent for a minute, if
Do
that's
it.
okay.
Yes.
So, I was in this journey. I was in a really strict, well, I don't want to call it strict. It was an extreme medicinal diet for a while, and I needed really healthy vegetables and stuff like this. And I didn't find that in the grocery stores. I mean, people say, "Oh, just go the organic, la la la." It's like, no, there's something still not the same.
Yeah.
And I found myself just blocks away from an Amish community that, of course, they plow everything with their horse and they harvest by hand. And I would go in and for one, the produce was like a fraction of the price and 3 times the size. Right. So I would get this kale for like $1, and it was this huge kale that barely fit in my fridge. And I
Hmm.
could go to the grocery store to the organic section and buy three heads of kale that were not even that size
And
for
who knows
way.
where it came from? It could be days old and the nutrients is, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's the other thing, the fresh picked. That also
Yeah.
makes a big difference. And I always wondered, like, gosh, this is so weird. I mean, it's organic, la 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 la. But what it is that it's machinery. It's still being farmed with machinery. It's not being farmed by the blood and the sweat, tears, the effort of the human.
Yeah.
That connection with the land produces much more volume and quality. So
Yeah.
it's a similar thing with our own spirit. That deep connection is what grows and feeds and this kind of thing
Yeah.
versus like say like some of our electronic technology. We have really cool frequency devices, right?
Hmm.
Yes, it's helpful, but it's not quite the same as that spirit human connection,
Yes.
meeting and nurturing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We can't be replaced by machines. It's not going to go well. Like, there's definitely something about us that's unique. Yeah.
Yes. And I ran across this YouTube channel. All right, so technology has a lot of amazing things to it, right? There's
Yes.
some
And
imbalances, but
I'm with the I'm sometimes I hate on technology, but you also make a really beautiful point that we can dream some benevolent, awesome technology into the future. It's up to us to do that. Yeah. That we can
yes.
change the tech that we get with,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's not just a dream, it's how we hold it in the here and now.
Yeah.
This is really what will really have a huge impact for the here and now, our awareness of that, how we hold and have that relationship.
Yeah.
Um, but this YouTube channel. So this
Yes,
YouTube
yes.
channel was the gateway to this whole other scene that I didn't know about in the younger generations. And there's this pretty significant movement towards the old and the antique and restoration. And it started off with this gal, I think it was her and her dad bought I think she bought it. It was like an old, five and dime store in an abandoned town, and they're gutting it out and they're going through all the things that they found. And this girl has a passion for history and how things used to be made. And I mean, young girl, I think she's like 20, early 20s.
Hmm.
And that channel actually, because you know how the algorithms give you more of the same.
Yeah.
I watched a couple of videos on that channel. I was like, wow, this chick's really cool. I mean, clearly they don't know much about much as far as construction and all this stuff. It's like she's fumbling through, which is part of the entertainment.
Yeah.
Kind of like it helps you think, wow, if she could do it. Maybe I could do something like that, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and so anyway, then the algorithm started giving me all this other stuff, and I realized that there's actually quite a movement in the younger generations that are unplugging from the technology on social media, video games, cell phones, all this stuff. And there's even a movement to, not have a cell phone or, or even just going back to the Fliposaurus kind of thing,
Yeah.
and I'm like, this is cool. So it's like that gives that what tells me is that there's spirit happening in these younger generations, and they know what takes them away from themselves, and they're making a conscious choice to do something different. And so I'm just
Yeah.
like, all right,
Yes.
yes,
This is
yes.
awesome. Yes,
What?
we're going back to record players and we're going back to refrigerators that run forever and all kinds of other stuff and beautiful things that, the stuff they make nowadays, it's like all the buildings are black boxes and everything is just looks the same. The spirit, like
Yeah,
you said, the spirit's gone out of it. The ornateness, the art. Yeah.
yes. So
Yeah.
spiritually wise society, you'll see it in their architecture because there's a high priority put on beauty.
Yeah.
That's this big signature of a highly evolved spiritual society.
Yeah.
And of course we see that in their ancient and like in the castles and the ancient built
Yeah.
churches and
I
yeah.
love it. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you would agree. I feel so much better in the stone buildings with like the gargoyles on them and the flowers carved into the walls. And I just feel so much better in those buildings as opposed to, some of the newer buildings. It's just a much better
Oh,
energy.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
all the ones built before the 1500s were master built, so they were specifically tuned between the earth energies and cosmic. So they,
Oh,
those were very, very mindfully built. It wasn't
awesome.
until, the 1500s that that kind of building fell away
Yeah.
because, well, the age of logic and reason had to rise. It was time for that to rise. So all that
Yeah.
other stuff was considered, mystical mumbo jumbo.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I mean, from a bird's eye view, everything's kind of happening the way it's meant to, even if it looks like it's kind of a mess or
Yes.
yeah.
So this is another thing about Dreamtime that
Yeah.
helps liberate you is to understand that there truly is nothing that's good or bad, right or wrong.
Hmm.
Okay. It's our relationship to it. So if our relationship is fed with a narrative telling us how we're cursed and we're powerless and we're a victim and there's nothing you can do because it's a machine bigger than you are, then that's the relations that those stories are giving you that relationship to this. thing, whatever this thing is, say, the fall of consciousness. So it's up to us to find stories that liberate us
Yeah.
from those relationships. And once we've liberated ourselves from one of those kinds of relationships, we realize, oh, wait a minute, this actually works. I'm not just like convincing myself of something. I truly do feel like I have a different relationship now. And
Yes.
and then that can spread to other things. And dream work helps with that a lot because our subconscious, like I was talking about, the subconscious fills in the blanks. Well, our subconscious will fill in the blanks of all the stuff that we need to work out. It's unresolved.
Yeah.
So it's like I said, working with Dreamtime covers so many other bases in life.
Yeah.
Getting straight with it, that relationship piece is huge, uh, and that's a rabbit hole because we really believe our stories. We really believe that so and so did this and so did that, and yes, they may have done that, but they may not have done that in the way that you think that they're doing that. You know what I mean? Because we
Yeah.
project or assume or whatever we need to validate why we feel that way is exactly what we're going to engage with and perceive, right?
Yeah.
Confirmation bias, they call it. So your confirmation bias becomes really obvious when you're working with Dreamtime. It becomes obvious in a way that you recognize how it's obscuring what's really there. And this is where tracking in a group is so beneficial because you have a relationship with these people. You understand that people are sharing data sets just to share the data set out of openness and authenticity,
Mm-hmm.
not out of agenda. So
Yeah.
it's easier to let yourself really hear and listen what's being spoken, and in that you learn. You learn
Yeah.
about why you have certain biases and blind spots and why
Yes.
it's unresolved.
Yes, absolutely. I love it. Now, there are some people, I mean, some people listening, maybe they don't right now have a community to work with, like if they want to work with Dreamtime, if they're just like kind of solitary. Um, would you have any suggestions for them with things maybe they want to resolve, say on their own? Um, I know you've said that ritual is important, that it's important to have a ritual and set an intent before you go to sleep. Is there any
Yeah.
suggestions you have for people that just kind of want to do it solo for right now?
Well, I would say, all right, you can work out everything in dream time. Um, but the most important part is not about the dream time itself, it's about the here and now.
Okay.
Okay. So if someone wanted to get started on this and wanted to stay solo, one is get clear on why you want to stay solo.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, it's because it's easier and safer.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're making decisions out of ease and safety, you're going to end up bringing nightmares
Oh, yeah.
because the intention is to challenge your box. And there is no safety in that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy. It's like
Yeah.
you're calling forward the gauntlet, and your subconscious knows exactly where your soft spots are. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I would take it in increments in the sense of first use the dream time to come into sacred relationship with yourself. Ask for frequencies and for the beings of your entourage to come and introduce themselves so you can get to know them. And because you want to have a sacred relationship with yourself or enhance that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And then as things progress from there, you can decide, people will start coming on your path because the universe, nature, because the universe is nature, they're the same,
Yeah.
wants us to wake up.
Yeah.
So you will get help, but it's a matter
Yes.
of challenging yourself and letting yourself be and feel like the total ass that we are. All right. Really.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's humiliating. And at the same time, once you get put into check like that, you're like, wow, I really am an ass.
Yeah. And it's
You can laugh,
okay.
right? You can laugh about it.
Yeah.
There's so much compassion from the other side because nature understands what we've been through and how far away we are from ourselves. There's a deep understanding throughout the cosmos that us earthlings are like this.
Yeah.
So when they are anywhere near our sphere to assist, they're prepared for that. They're
Yeah.
prepared for that. There's a lot of compassion. One of the best things you can do if for Dreamtime recall is to
Mm-hmm.
make sure you're nowhere around electronics at least a half hour before bed and then after waking up. So
Okay.
what a very practical thing to do is have a bedtime ritual. So
Mm-hmm.
one of the gals in Lightbody, she has a bedtime ritual that she shared with us. It takes about an hour and a half. Okay, it's all of her self-care. It's like she dry brushes and she does this and she does that, all the things to take care of the things that make her feel good. And by the time she's done with all that, she's tired. So she she lights a candle and goes to bed. Now I know having a lit candle when you're sleeping is not necessarily,
Ooh, but
but
that sounds lovely. I like that.
some
Yeah.
people do this. And that way, she's not spending time before bed abstaining from something. She's spending time before bed doing something that feels really good and brings her back home to her body and is self-honoring. So you're tuning
Yeah.
and then go to sleep, go to bed. So that kind of thing can really, really help with the relationship with dream time. Um, I would say also, okay, no, I don't even need to say that. So I have my own entourage, right? Hanging out,
Yeah.
just saying certain things like, oh yeah, make sure you mention that, make sure you mention this kind of thing. I was gonna talk about it, but they're like, no, don't, I don't need to, because the big thing is the synchronicity will come. If you're
Mm-hmm.
approaching dream time like that with sincerity like this,
Yeah.
a person will come.
Okay.
A person or a group of people will eventually come for you to connect with.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of my journeys, I'll try to keep this short. One of my journeys in this life was to recognize how false humility and compassion was a poison in my life. Okay. And the
Okay.
reason why it was poison was because I was investing all that into people that had no interest in investing it back in me and had no interest in me being well or my happiness, or they had no interest. And because I was raised in a family that was very addicted and traumatized, I grew up in that environment. I didn't recognize that that wasn't right, that that was not proper use of my nurturing and compassion, that it was actually me getting ego driver validation out of service. And it was not even real service. It was like pissing in the wind,
Yeah.
and that was a really painful realization because I wanted my rose-colored glasses wanted to, it was telling me that, oh, I was just seeing their potential and their beauty, and that's what I was investing in. And if I don't do it, who will? It's like, you know what? They need to do it. They need to have some yes for it, or else it just turns into a black hole that sucks the life out of you. And that was such a scathing lesson because I didn't want to admit that people make those choices because I myself didn't understand those choices. So we are, waking up into the truth of who we really are means understanding why we invest ourselves with disharmonic people and energies.
Yeah.
So, and this is really rough, especially as women, because in our culture, we're taught that that's how you know you're doing a good job as a woman, as a wife, as a mother, as a sister, as a daughter, when really all these frequencies are not at all in alignment with the truth of who you are, and nor do they care. And that's rough, really
Yeah.
rough. So
Yeah.
this is still on the same question about if someone wants to work on their own. It's like that's a rough journey, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely think the community aspect of it is huge. And just talking to someone that's been through it, like, and knows,
Mm.
like, has the expertise on it. Because I know a lot of people right now, it's like dream journaling so big, but that's like it's a solo thing. It's just you and your diary, I guess. I don't know. I just wanted to add, just that's what made me ask. Because I know a lot of people are on this like solo journey to decipher their dreams, and yeah. But thank you
So
for that
yeah,
explanation.
well, I appreciate this conversation because I
Yeah.
think that we are talking to a few people that really need some wake up, right?
Hmm.
That's what it feels like. It's like I
Yeah.
can get the feeling of this energy over here. Um,
Yeah.
I do want to delineate the difference between tracking and interpreting dreams.
Okay.
Okay. Because this is, I think, the why. well, this is the glaring obvious piece that shows us just how feminine the path is with Lightbody. So dream interpretation, right?
Yeah.
It's actually pretty satisfying because you get to understand what's going on in your subconscious, right? You get to know yourself a little bit, what's holding you back, yeah, okay, there's some satisfaction in there. And you can use that in dream interpretation to help you create things in your life. The rub is that you're creating things from your ego driver in your life, which means it's not necessarily guaranteed to satisfy your soul or nourish your spirit
Yeah.
or be nourishing for everybody else in your community.
Hmm.
Versus when you're creating from your spirit, something aligned with that, everybody benefits, not just you, everybody.
Yes.
So when it comes to dream interpretation, we actually don't hardly ever do that.
Yeah.
And then the next question maybe is like, well, then what the heck are you doing with dream? And it's going past the human realm. That's the key, going past the human realm. Now, there are our government and other kinds of, like the military and disclosure movement, they're very into training people to find those places where the dream and the waking overlap. And they use it for espionage and, shenanigans, we'll just say.
Yeah.
And that's not at all what we're interested in. We're about liberating reality, not getting further invested into the power over dynamics. So if there is a caveat that we have, and it's all in it boils it down to inner circle magic. This is why we can teach such powerful things. This is why I can speak about things that have been closely held secrets for thousands of years, because it's all about it being inner magic. And the caveat with that is that it cannot be abused. What I'm showing people how to do is powerful, profound. It will change their lives in this world, but it can never be abused because it's inner circle magic. Your realization, you can't truly have the power until you have the realization. I can talk about it till I'm blue in the face. It's
Hmm.
nothing until you have the realization yourself.
Yep.
Now you have the power. And that
Yeah.
realization has woken you up to the level where you would never dream about misusing it. You would never, it's like that's so far away from possible because it'd be going against who you are.
Yep. Yeah.
And we're done selling our souls out for, these rewards that are just, so temporary and,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
We're leaving all that behind us. Awesome. Thank you.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Um, so every tier that we have in Lightbody is inner circle like this. This is why the ancestor work is the way it is, and the Fey realm work is the way it is because we are the time of let's say the sorcerer king is over. That was all that was all a misuse of power. And people might think that there aren't sorcerer kings anymore, and it's like, oh, there certainly are. I mean, they're definitely in our history. I mean, look at the Pharaoh. That's a glaring obvious sorcerer king story, right?
Yeah.
In the Kyoto, what they talk about is that every 500 years or so, there's a Pachacuti where the world gets turned upside down. And the time of the conquistadors was the last Pachacuti. So all of the benevolent sorcerer kings, the ones that were benevolent, they all went underground. Well, so did the other ones that were not benevolent. All that went underground, and they're actually ruling this reality from the underworlds rather than the people that we see that are the figureheads in charge. Now, there's a big lesson in that to understand truly what's happening.
Yeah.
So this rise cannot be one that's another level of power over dynamics. This rise is a true rise of every of well, I don't like the word ascension, but that's what comes up. I would say a true imbuement of this reality again with who we really are. And that is, what changes everything. Plants grow differently, like we talked about, right? The
Yeah.
weather patterns change. There's no war, there is no famine, there is no lack because of the imbuement of this reality. There's abundance for all, and there's not abuse or waste. Um,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, so that's like, wow, we got really heavy in there, but there you
We
go.
did. But I love it because it's truth and my bones are ringing. So here we are. It's February 19th.
Yes.
right now is when we're recording this. And one thing you talk about, I mean, I guess you could say it's mid-February, maybe getting into late February, but you talk about how there's a new paradigm coming, new rules are beginning.
Yes.
Um, and we talked about how this is a time that's been prophesized. So, I mean, you've said things can happen very fast right now.
Yeah.
Um, what can we expect? Because you said we're moving into the Homo luminous. I think that's something you already touched on before.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what's the new human gonna look like, you think, and what can we expect going forward with this?
The new human, that's you and me,
Yeah.
you know. Um, as far as, all right, so when we say what to expect, personally, it's different than collectively, though
Okay.
there are similarities, right?
Hmm.
You and I, we've been through a lot, we've done work.
Hmm.
So when something living in a realm of uncertainty is not as traumatic for us as it is for someone who's been in a world of certainty.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
we've already done a lot of the preliminary work. Really, what's coming up for us to face are the lies that maybe we still tell ourselves about ourselves, or about reality. Okay. A lie that, oh, well, they're everywhere, the lies, and pretty much all of them are super triggering. So it's like, how do I pick one that's not too sensitive? Um,
It's okay. I'm
okay.
here for you. We could
All the
handle it.
political, pretty much all the political stuff, right?
Yeah.
Just and
Yeah.
and what's happening is that I think for you and I, the part that's gonna is really hard is watching the downward spirals that people are stepping into and the insanity of it all.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I think that's really hard to watch. That's the difficult thing.
Yeah.
But it is in the process of imploding and is going to continue to implode. So what does it look like when we'll say a typical human path implodes? Some kind of rock bottom. So either an addiction that takes them to the brink of death, or actually having a near-death experience that wakes a lot of people up. You
Hmm.
know, there's some great
Yeah.
stories about people's near-death experiences. Um, Maybe rock bottom as far as wanting to die.
Yeah.
They lost their status, they lost their money, lost whatever, lost family, whatever. They want to die now. It's like whatever that rock bottom is, we are going to be in that place of watching it happen. And that sucks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do we stay in our center, in our compassion place while this is why? So for me, this is also again the Dreamtime why it's so significant. So in the here and now for these people, there's actually nothing I can do because I can't talk to them about anything because everything I'm going to have to say is going to challenge what they think is so, and I'm looking for a fight at that point, and
Yeah.
or at least like this massive energy drain. So it's like, how do we support all this that these people are going through? This is where I settle into. It's like, okay, how can I support this process? And again, it's dream time. So it's dreaming these fields into being and bringing them into this here and now reality. So where they can catch on, they will. And that's that. and
Okay.
and it's holding that field of energy. So as you hold the field of energy and I hold the field of energy and everybody else in our community holds that field of energy, now we have a collective grid because we're not the only ones. There's light workers all over the place. I mean, there's
Yes.
millions of us by
Yes.
now.
And when you say field of energy, what do you mean?
It's a
Holding.
field of our being
Okay.
connected to ourself.
Okay.
So total hell's breaking loose and we stay connected to ourselves.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
you see, and
Yes.
as we all do that, that's creating a whole new consciousness grid rising. We are holding it actively.
Yes. Stable. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Stabilizes
Yeah.
until eventually, it locks in.
Yeah.
And
I
I have
love, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was just gonna say I have a feeling that sometime next year is where it really locks in.
For the good, or things are
Yeah,
really going to hit the fan?
for that
Oh.
next, oh well, it's gonna be hitting.
Or
Yeah,
both.
well,
Or
hitting.
who
Remember,
knows?
we're talking about the downfall of the Dark Lords of Saturn. I mean, they don't go down without a fight. I don't know.
No, they're going to be
Yeah,
like
you
bulls in a china shop. Yeah.
you watched the movie?
Yes. Well, I love just to help us, you have a really lovely exercise you talk about to help us go inward and hold
Hmm.
that. You have a lovely exercise, a 5 minute exercise, you say, of listen to your heart for 5 minutes, listen to your heartbeat, and then smile into your heart. I love that.
Yes.
Thank
So,
you for that. Because I think we're gonna
absolutely.
need it.
Oh, did you have an opportunity to practice it a little bit?
Not yet. I've been sleeping a lot, but I will. I
Okay.
promise.
Well, it's actually really good for that inner smile that we're talking about is really good for symptoms of illness too.
Oh, okay.
Um,
I'll have to do that.
yeah, this is how way back in COVID when everybody was getting sick, I had COVID and was over it in just a couple hours. And it
Yeah.
was because of this inner smile piece.
Yeah.
Um, so there's an interdimensional component to that. I don't
Okay.
know if that's interesting to talk about. There's
Yeah,
an
it is. Let's do it.
interdimensional component to COVID, and it's a digital and interdimensional, so it kind of overlaps. But how it gets people to collude with the illness to make it really bad is it messes with your mind and your mindset. So negative thinking will get highlighted, and if you continue down that negative la 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 la, your symptoms are going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. And then of course, you have a lot of people like, oh my God, I'm scared for my life, I'm going to die. Now it's really getting, going downhill.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for me, how I noticed it was I woke up one morning and I felt like I got hit by a freaking truck. It was like getting out of bed, just having the strength to move to get out of bed was awful, right?
Yeah.
And my I usually spend time in the morning in that hypnagogic state, just kind of like sitting in the dream soup,
Yeah.
just sitting with it and going through things. And I noticed that my thoughts were really negative and critical
Hmm.
of everything. I mean, everything. I mean, I mean, it's one thing to have a critical thought, but it's another thing where every single thought is
Yeah. It's like
criticizing
you're
me.
under attack. Yeah.
Right. And I was so like, I was angry. It was all, and I felt like crap. And I did have this thought, like, oh, maybe I'm just so negative because I feel so crappy. And I'm like, that's not even my thought. I know that that's not the truth, So
Yeah.
I just flipped it around and did the inner smile. And, I was done. I was done by noon. I was completely over,
Wow.
no symptoms. I felt fine. Everything was fine, right?
Yeah.
And my partner at the time, who never gets sick, he is like a freaking machine. I mean, decades I was with this man, never sick.
Oh my
He was
God.
taken down for weeks. He was taken down hard.
Wow.
But I was also a negative thinker. So
No.
there's, that
There
that
you
little
go.
extra.
Yeah.
So that's really important because this inner smile is a similar kind and has a lot of applications to it, and it's really potent. And the reason why I have people listen to the rhythm of their heartbeat and smile into that is because that rhythm is connected to all the other rhythms of your biosuit, all the other rhythms. So the rhythms of your organs, because organs have pulses, the rhythms in your nervous system. We have cerebral spinal fluid, has three pulses alone just in that single dimension of fluid, right? And then so there's all these rhythms upon rhythms upon rhythms that makes up this biosuit, and the heart is at the center of it all. So that's why you want to smile into the heartbeat and let that happiness, that joy melt the hardness or whatever the rigidity is, and now you have more pliability and joy, levity, call it levity.
Yeah.
But the actual practice of the inner smile can be you can do it in anything and anywhere. You can do it with pain, you can do it with any part of the body. It's an actual Taoist practice that comes from long lineage of immortal masters out of Thailand. So it has roots that have been supporting humanity for many thousands of years.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. That's a beautiful tool. I'm gonna do it. I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah,
If
let me
I
know how
get
it
better,
goes.
because I'm so sick of being sick. Um, yeah,
Mhm.
let me see real quick. Or just make sure. I know we're winding down here.
Time flies.
It does, it does. You said something interesting about, yeah, that most people, and I'm sure a lot of people resonate with this, born into families that don't match our frequency. So now is the time to find our soul tribes that match up with us. Would you say that's important for
Absolutely.
right now? Yeah.
Oh yeah, that community piece. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So online, in person. So Lightbody is our regular stuff is online, but we do get together in person a couple times a year
Yeah.
because it is really, really important to entrain with each other in the physical presence.
Yeah. Awesome.
So,
Yeah. So we're winding down. I mean, do you have, so it's like, February 2026. Do you have a last message for everyone before we kind of talk about where people can find you and what you have coming up?
hmm. As far as last message would go, it's and what I guess I'd want to convey the understanding that you're good to go right now, here and now. Everything that you need, I need, and all the listeners, everything that you need to realize your purpose, you have right now. You don't
Hmm.
need something else. You don't, there's, it's not about missing money or missing education or certification or whatever. None of that actually matters. You have it all right now to get that next step going. That intent, that focus, that desire is all you need to open the door and move forward. There's a lot of stories, which we didn't get into a lot into them, just a couple, but there's a lot of stories that overlap that pretty much tell us that the feminine path ingrained a major facet to the wholeness of that is that you are gifted with what you need before you take the journey. You're not rewarded after the journey. You're given it because you have the capacity and the courage to take that first step.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you for that. Yeah. Um, oh, that's awesome. Yeah, we have everything we need. We just need to tap into it. It's all
Yeah,
there. It's
it's
all
all
there.
there. It's
Yeah.
all there. Well, it also shows us how twisted we are, is that even though we don't consider ourselves Christian or Jewish or Islam, we still have the origin story in our subconscious that, we're sinners and we're less than. So that's a big thing to get through. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. And
yeah.
oh God, I won't bring it up. Well, there are certain narratives I feel like that are reminding me of that nowadays, the whole guilt, sin, and blame, that the earth's overpopulated and it's we're the problem. Or
Yes.
it's not us. That to me,
That's
that's just a new religion. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. The climate change narrative to me is just the new religion of guilt, sin, and blame. Do we need to live differently? Yes, for sure.
yes.
But it's
Yeah.
not us that's and they're giving little children books about telling them every time a child is born the earth sighs. I mean, what a horrible
Oh,
thing to put in a 5-year-old's mind, you
what
know?
a horrible program to give them. Yes, that's so
No, I
that's
know.
so not true. Oh my gosh.
Sorry, I just opened up a can of
Yes.
worms, but I just had to say it.
Well, but I
Yeah.
mean, that is the result of this origin story that
Yeah.
tells us that robs us of our divinity.
Yeah.
This is what it looks like. This is the result of it.
Yeah.
And I would, we the systems we need to understand that collectively we're kind of like it's like a narcissistic abuse. We're
Yeah.
scapegoated for all this stuff,
Yep.
like carbon tax that was originally introduced to work against corporations and the military, and now it's used against the people
Yeah.
because we're the bad ones. It's like, you know what, the industrial military complex is the biggest offender to ecological stability
Yeah.
on the planet. But it's our
Yeah.
fault. It's our fault.
Right, right. We're spilling 10,000 gallons of oil into the ocean. Yeah, I did that. Yeah. Right.
Right. Or the
Right. Or whatever.
Fukushima. Or
Or
it's
yeah.
like, yeah, we feel this pain and it has us all twisted up, and then we're given the
Yes.
story on why it's our fault.
Yeah.
See, it is. It's like this strange abusive relationship we have with the narrative creators in the collective field.
Yes.
And
Yes.
well, actually, maybe we can talk about this another time, but I would love to talk about, how all where this started in the Orion constellation, and how this is the meeting ground where that wounding meets the true cosmic mother creation, and this
Hmm.
is where it gets alchemized,
All right.
right
That's
here,
another
right
show.
now.
We'll
Yeah.
have to have you back to talk about that because it's important.
I would love, love,
Um,
love to talk about that. That
yeah,
would
but I
be,
know that you and we both agree. I mean, not saying we shouldn't take care of Mother Earth. We definitely need to. But
oh
yeah, there
yeah,
is a narrative that is being imposed on us that is false. And yeah,
yes, yes.
yes. So remind people where they can find you. You have an awesome YouTube channel and Rumble. I know that it's important people check out Rumble because they were censoring you, correct? You were hitting a nerve.
Yeah, yeah, we're hitting
Good
the
for
nerve.
you.
Wow, I didn't even realize it was, I thought, I was easily just because I was so easily dismissible, like some crazy lady that talks to Sasquatch. No one's going to really care about what I have to say about much unless you're just as crazy as I am, right? But no, evidently the algorithms.
Yeah.
Really, yeah, we're just what we're talking about. I'm liberating people from the narratives, and that's evidently worthy of censorship these days. Anyway, yeah, so
Yeah.
we have our YouTube channel, Lightbody Academy, Lightbody Global Academy on Rumble. We're on Instagram, the social media stuff. I would say if people want to get involved or if they just want to get supported, we have excellent outreach. Stacey Hernandez, she does the energy clearings at the end of the month. Those are great. And then Laurel does Forest Wisdom Circle. So if that's more your speed, like contact with nature spirits, she does that the Thursday in the beginning of the month. And I do talks around town and online and stuff like this with when I get the inspiration. And then to actually get involved with the community, um, we have one-offs that you can get involved in, but I would actually suggest, diving in. If you're like dipping your toe in the water is kind of like enough to get uncomfortable, but when you just commit and dive in, it's like then you get the full scope of what can change and how quickly it can change for you. So I would say look at the Dreamtime Healing Project. Are you ready to commit for at least 6 months to try it out? It's 4 or 5 meetings a month, different things. We do different exercises together, and then just try your hand at it. I think a lot more people are going to realize that they have a skill for this than
Yeah.
they, perhaps had the opportunity to discover before. So that would be my
Awesome.
invitation, to everybody.
What a beautiful outlet. And you said, I think Laurel has something coming up soon. Did you say you wanted to
Oh my
mention that?
goodness. Yes. Oh,
Yes.
yes, she
Because,
absolutely does. On the
yes.
21st of this month. So she has a gift about how to tune in with the Fey realm, and she's teaching people how to use our techniques to tune yourself in to go into nature. So the nature spirits will allow you or invite you to capture their images on camera.
Awesome.
And that is on the 21st. So it's this Saturday, 10 a.m. Mountain Time.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so that's 3 or 4 hours of learning these techniques and then going over the technical stuff with the camera and then hopefully capturing some really cool images.
And then the magic happens. Awesome.
The magic's happening.
Awesome. Yep. And I will include, just so everyone knows, I will include the links to make it super easy to find Christina and find Lightbody Academy in the show notes. So please check those out.
Awesome.
Christina, thank you so, so much for coming
Mhm.
on. I am grateful for you. I'm so glad you exist. And I'm so, so grateful for the work you're doing for all of us, and for all the realms. I know you're appreciated.
Aw, thank you. Thank you. And thank you
Thank
for
you.
having me. It was great
Yeah.
talking to you
Yeah.
guys.
And we'll have you back. We've got to touch on that other topic we talked about.
Right, right.
All right.
Absolutely.
Bye,
All right,
everyone.
Becca. Bye-bye.